this is actually my monologue as I'm filling in for Ezra Levant today, because it is the NDP, federal NDP, pushing for more internet censorship. So they are committing here to, first of all, they're complaining, by the way, that the Liberals' censorship isn't going far enough, but simultaneously agreeing to support it, which is interesting, because that's the Liberals, or that's the NDP for you. They complain about the Liberals, but then they do everything the Liberals need them to do to stay in power. And they're talking about Bill C-36. It's an act to amend the criminal code to propose $70,000 in fines for internet users. This is not internet companies. This is people who post on the internet for legal content deemed, this is the most chilling part, likely, not even that it did, but likely to foment detestation or vilification. So if you post content that might encourage somebody to dislike somebody else, let's say I post a picture of an F Trudeau sign and somebody gives it a thumbs up. Have I just encouraged somebody to dislike Justin Trudeau? That feeling now under Bill C-36 could be made illegal, and I could receive a $70,000 fine for encouraging people to dislike Justin Trudeau. That's where this comes down on. And the NDP are like, doesn't go far enough.
Well, first of all, it doesn't surprise me in the least that the NDP, the censorious thug fans that they are, say that it doesn't go far enough. But here's the big problem with that piece of legislation. There'll be people out there saying, well, on the internet, you'll see examples of libel and slander and defamation. And I go, yes, you will. And you know what? We have had laws on the books, 'twas ever thus, for libel, slander, and defamation. If you think you have a concrete case that you've been defamed or libeled, then you go and take that person to court. Why does there have to be this shortcut system that we're going to fine you for alleged hate speech, defamation, libel, however you want to call it? And here's the other thing, Sheila. This is the most important thing of all with this kind of flawed legislation. There's a Latin saying, I can't remember it because I flunked Latin, but it's this. It translates into English as thus: who watches the watchers? Who are the people making these mandates, and who do they answer to? It seems like nobody. And that makes this legislation frightening.
Right. So this is Bill C-36 that we're talking about. It has not been reintroduced, although there's two separate pieces of censorship legislation tabled and currently winding their way through committee. And the NDP would like to see C-36, or at least elements of C-36, end up in those new pieces of legislation where internet users could end up being fined $70,000. But the real focus, as they say, is on misinformation. And, people who handle cash all the time, the reason they can find a counterfeit just like that is their familiarity with the real. So the fraudulent becomes pretty evident to them because they handle the real stuff all the time. Well, Justin Trudeau and his relationship with misinformation, it's that, but in reverse. Because at first I thought, who is the government to tell me what the heck is misinformation? Yeah. But they have a real familiarity with misinformation, don't they? I mean, they're the ones who are telling us, get a vaccine, it stops COVID. Well, how many times has Justin Trudeau, Mr. Triple or quadruple boosted?
Yeah.
Caught COVID? 3, I think, maybe. And who knows? I mean, some of those are probably like, oh, the truckers are coming, I have COVID now. But, or, when he says, we're not going to take your hunting rifles, then he admits we're going to take your hunting rifles. Yep. And then 3 weeks later, he says, wait a minute. No, actually, we're not going to take your hunting rifles. You shouldn't be hunting with those things anyways. So the Liberals are the purveyors. They're the peddlers of misinformation. And they're the ones telling us that we can't be critics of them, or that's misinformation. Misinformation doesn't mean anything anymore except stuff the government doesn't want you to say at this point.
And can you imagine, Sheila, this government, this federal government, the Justin Trudeau Liberals, th- those people being the moral authority on misinformation and disinformation with all the scandals in the
I know.
last 7+ years, Sheila. And you know, here's the thing. I really believe if we had a functional mainstream media, i.e., a media that was independent and not dependent on government dollars, this government would have fallen years ago, given
Yep.
all the baggage in their closet. I'm talking everything from SNC Lavalin, the Wee scandal, blackface, groping. It just goes on, and nothing sticks. And these people are the moral authorities about misinformation and disinformation on the internet. Give me a break.